Jim Bryant.
Martin and Tracy Hatcher.
I'm Jim Watkins, and this is my wife, Pam.
My name is Sherry Rickard.
Joe Tomlinson.
Kat Carmen.
My name's John Carmen.
My name's John Ballard.
Cindy Lewis.
Trip to Kenya. I had never flown internationally before, and so we, of course, everyone. I think there was like 10 people on our team. There were 10 people on our team, and we were all spread out through the plane. And Brother Stan was about 6 rows behind me, and we hit turbulence. And I guess on that trip I was thinking a lot about meeting Jesus, because at that time I thought, if we go down, we're over the ocean. And I turn around and I kind of look at him, and he's back there, and he's just kind of waving like that. And we get off the plane, and we were, gathering up our luggage and stuff. And he said, I don't know about you. He said, but I was saying, Lord, if you find 10 righteous people on this plane, will you save it? That was so funny.
Wow. I could tell lots of stories about Brother Stan, but one that comes to mind immediately is when he first came, we were one of the first couples that he married, and I was excited about him. He's obviously always preached the gospel from the first day that he was here, and I was excited about that, and I knew that in our wedding ceremony there would be family members that I wanted to be sure heard the gospel. So I encouraged Brother Stan to do that. Well, wedding day came, and I was extremely nervous. So nervous, standing in the hallway out by the old sanctuary, and I said, Brother Stan, let's just cut all that other stuff out. In his typical style, he said, it'll be all right. And we went on ahead and did the ceremony as planned. So
Once Brother Stan and I went to Ridge Point Country Club in the morning to hear a political candidate give a talk. And I think he felt a little bit like a duck out of water there, but it was morning time, and it was a political rally, and there were a lot of folks there we knew, and all was well. But then the bartender came by and started talking to us, and he said something to Brother Stan like, it sure would be nice if we could have a good stiff drink this morning. And Brother Stan, I think, was a little taken aback, but he kind of looked at me and grinned and said nothing. And I knew right then that despite a firm belief about a lot of issues, he was a gentle, considerate, and understanding man when it comes to dealing with issues and people. And kind of taught me how to deal with some things that maybe I wouldn't have dealt with as well in other circumstances.
The only story that stands out in my memory is when Brother Stan got the tractor from the church, and how excited he was about that, and how it seemed to take him back to his childhood.
Well, my biggest draw or liking of Brother Stan has always been that he has always been probably the best teacher of the Bible, the scriptures, to me. There's not a time that you don't come to worship service and you don't get bored, your mind doesn't start wandering or whatever. He's always had the ability in his technique, or just the gift that he has, of being a preacher, of being able to hold your interest to the whole service. And that's one of the reasons why I've always enjoyed coming and listening to him. I've always been blessed. I've learned so much in the years that I've been under him, as I feel I've learned the most that I would of the scriptures of the Bible, of his teaching, and the way he teaches it, and the way he helps you to remember things, and the way he puts in humor, but then he's 100% serious about what he's teaching you, and it is 100% the Word of God.
Well, what I'd like to say now is that there's a lot of jest there, but I've sat under just a few pastors in my life, in my adult life. just literally 4 or 5. And 3 of those sat in the congregation here. That's Terry Gage, Ricky Rose, and Brother Harold Russell. And those guys have had a tremendous influence on my life, and they will always be dear to my heart, and I learned a lot from being underneath those guys. But in the year and a half that I've been here at Nettleton Baptist Church, back at Nettleton Baptist Church, I've come to grow, I've grown to love Brother Stan.
The one that comes to mind is a few years ago, our son Brant had decided he wanted to help take up the offering. So we did that, no big deal. Well, then Brant decided he wanted to pray. Well, I kind of had mixed feelings about that, especially with as many people that wouldn't understand him, wouldn't understand what he said, wouldn't understand him wanting to pray anyway. So I talked to Brother Stan about it. I told him, I said, Brant wants to pray. He goes, let him. I said, he may bless every Disney character on earth. He said, the Lord knows his heart. That's Brother Stan that I know.
I was just going to say, when we first started visiting Nettleton, and he came to our house for a home visit, and we visited for 2 hours, and it was wonderful. He answered all of our questions and just made us feel very comfortable, and we've always felt very welcome here.
You know, I'm not really sure why that I was asked to empty out Brother Stan's office. But as I was going through there, I found some things that were pretty troubling. He had like when these great artists, you find these things and you discover weird drawings and stuff like that. And the first thing I found of his, well, he's from Georgia. All those stories from Mississippi? Really? Do you think he's telling us the truth now? Is he really going to retire? Is he going to be sitting in the back row watching everything? I don't really know. But I rifled through there a little more and emptied out some things and went through some more papers, and I pulled this out. He hates cowbells. He said he went to Mississippi State. Do you really think that he hates cowbells? I know we hate cowbells, so maybe he hates them too. But as I dug a little further, I finally got to the truth. Here all this time we were sitting here under this man listening to him telling us the truth from the Bible. And what did we hear? We heard his love for Mississippi. We heard his love for Mississippi State. And as I dug through and we found that this one shocked me to the core. I cannot believe this, but I believe it's true. That not only do I love Ole Miss, Brother Stan loves Ole Miss too.
I have fond memories of the early days of Brother Stan's ministry here, and how he and Fran used to joke around. Fran would joke about wanting to be one of the first women deacons in the church, a woman deacon, and I'm not sure Brother Stan knew how to take that.
We always enjoy when he brags on Mississippi State, his alma mater, especially their athletic teams, during his sermons, even when they don't deserve it.
And then another one, for the last 5, 6, 8 years, Brother Stan and I have been going out and delivering candy to the shut-ins during Christmas. And I didn't get to go this year because I was out of town, but one year it was so cold I just couldn't hardly stand it. And Brother Stan, he just wouldn't wait on me. He just run. Got up there. Then the door shut. Then I couldn't get in. So, and I didn't know the code, so I couldn't get in.
Well, I love his cowboy boots. I love to look each Sunday to see what kind of shoes he has on, and normally they're cowboy boots. So that's kind of what I like about him.
There's 2 stories that really stick out. One is I was with him and Brother Mike, and he sat in the front seat making weird car noises, and then he'd say "Yeehaw," and he'd just laugh, and then he'd turn around and say, "I'm a kid at heart and a cowboy wannabe." And then the other story about Monday night visitation was it was me and Brother Mike and Larry Newberry. And then in the vehicle in front of us was Jim Carter and Brother Stan. And we were stopped at a train. And Brother Mike said, "Get out and go scare him." And I said, "No, because I know Jim Carter packs." He said, "It's okay. Go up there and just knock on the window." So I got out of the car, ran up there, and started pounding on the window. And Brother Stan almost jumped in Jim Carter's lap.
Okay, so my favorite Brother Stan story. We were in the middle of Kenya. I think we were on our way to Brackenhurst. We were in the middle of nowhere, and he needs to find a pit stop. So we come to these buildings, and they weren't, I mean, it wasn't a community. It wasn't a village. It was just a few dilapidated buildings. And so he gets out of the van and he kind of, skips off. And so we're sitting there waiting. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if he's not back in 5 minutes, he's with Jesus. It's that sketchy. And a few minutes later, he comes around the corner with his huge smile on his face and a cup of ice cream. Thinking, how in the world did you find ice cream in the backwoods of Kenya? So that's my favorite Brother Stan story.
I don't know. I can see him skipping down the hall when he's going somewhere. He doesn't walk. He doesn't run. He skips. And that's the coolest thing. I like it.
Yeah, he's there a lot of the time. When you don't even really realize he's there. He has that ability to kind of sense when something's not quite right. I don't know if that's just, a spiritual gift, that he kind of has that, gift of discernment. But he always seems to know, just what to say. Even if it's just a joke or just how are you? So, I think back on it and I'm thinking he's always there. And, I'll miss that because he does have a pastor's heart.
He has ministered to my family in ways that, the Lord knows. The Lord put him here, He put him in our church, He put him in our lives on purpose. So He knows, and how He's ministered to our family. And thank you's not enough, and thank God His rewards are being piled up in heaven, and I appreciate that. It's been everything from ministering to me personally through our marriage, my early adulthood as a husband and father, and ministering to us through death of family members, especially our daughter Shelby, and seeing us through so many life events, births, deaths, marriage, funerals, all of it. And we're just, it's really special to have somebody like Brother Stan that who means so much to us. That's the only way I know to put it.
Yeah, I think I'll answer that one. My father passed away in 2006, and I relied on the church family, and Brother Stan was there to comfort us during that time.
He has been there anytime I needed prayer, and I could go set up an appointment with him and go in and visit with him, express my, what I was dealing with, and he was there to help me through it. So yeah.
Yes, Brother Stan was, I guess one of the times when I needed him most was when my mom had passed away, Dad passed away. I'd been there and being the pastor that he is for Netherland Baptist. It's one thing to be a preacher. A man's called to be a preacher. That's a lot. But when you're called to be a pastor, to me it's a higher level. You're really caring for the members of the church, and he was there to give me support and just that reassurance that, you know, what you learn about all the time when you come into church about going to heaven and having that eternal home, just the comfort that comes with that, and that he was there for me during that time.
It's how he's ministered to my family, and over the years, through good times and bad times, thinking specifically of when Fran went through her illness and ultimately her passing, but how he ministered to us.
Brother Stan's always been there, you know, for anybody or for anything. I do remember back when my husband's brother passed away in 2008 in an automobile accident that was, you know, tragic, unexpected or whatever, that he and George Williamson did come to Newport to the funeral home to see us, and that was just really special, and that took, you know, time away from him, but it meant a lot to us for him to be there for us as a family as we went through that.
Really, the thing that meant the most to me is back in 2013 when my son passed away, and then a few hours later my father passed away, and we were planning the funeral. He was there with us. He was with us in prayer, and one of the things is that his sister also the next day passed away, and he was going to do her funeral in Mississippi. Of course, it was very important to us that he do Jeremy's funeral because he had been with him and been his pastor for so many years, and I just wanted somebody that knew him well to do his service. And I didn't expect Brother Stan to you know, of course, forego his sister's funeral, of course, but he came to me and he said, I want to do Jeremy's service, but my sister has passed away and I need to do her funeral, but it's in Mississippi. So he said, can you please move it back a day? And we were able it wasn't easy, but we did that. And he was so gracious and was going to stay for the entire service before he left to go to Mississippi. And we told him, no, you do the service. You do not go to the graveside. Someone else can do that. You head out to Mississippi. And for a pastor to come to me and care that much about it, because it wasn't going to interfere with my dad's service. He would be back in time for that. And he's just so caring. And in his time of grief, put that aside and ministered to us.
When Joey died, he was there for me. He was right there for me, right when I needed him. So he's always supported me in everything.
Brother Stan, I just thank you so much for your stories about SEC football, because I'm also an SEC football fan of a different team, but I enjoy hearing about your passion for the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And I also greatly appreciate your firm convictions and unwavering stance for what the Bible says. And we are going to miss you a lot. Thanks for everything.
Brother Stan's been a part of our family for a long, long time. He has buried my mom, he has buried my dad, and he has buried my husband. So he's been a part of our family for a long, long time. Anytime we needed him, he was always there for us.
I think the one that recently that I remember, because we've worked so closely together for the last few years, is, will you do something for me?
All I can think about, and it's never been a big part of my life, and really just is not part of my life anymore, but any time that man talks about alcohol and he says, liquor, you don't need liquor, I think that's pretty funny.
Absolutely. Cowboy wannabe, because he always wears his boots and his jeans on Sundays to preach.
Yeah. You just hang around. You're going to be in the area the rest of the day, right? Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Nettleton Baptist Church, where it's all about Jesus.
When I think of him, you know, cowboy hats and the bolero ties, I love that. Well, if you want it on his good side, bring him ice cream.
No, and what he says, and I want you to know,
I don't know about the cowboy wannabe. Brother Stan and I have a lot in common when it comes to cowboy, because we love our hats, we love our cowboy boots, we love our blue jeans, so yeah, we're cowboy wannabes. So. And I love ice cream just like him.
But I always kind of get a little snicker when I see him with his little bolo on, because that's kind of unusual this day and age.
Yeah, we go back and forth. He's of course, a huge Mississippi State fan. We are huge LSU Tiger fans. So, that's just been an ongoing thing from day one with us and him. So we talk about football, yeah. Not really saying, but my favorite is when he sings Beulah Land.
Yeah.
I just love it. Love it.
Yes, the cowboy wannabe, and his best time in life is the Farmall tractor. Big on the Farmall tractor on all of his acreage. If God decides to put us all back down here and do it again, Brother Stan will be a cowboy.
He taught us, when the Razorbacks did have a few winning years, he taught us how to be gracious towards the Razorback fans. And fortunately, we don't have to deal with that often. So.
On a more serious note, my brother Jim and I hopes that you and Beth enjoyed Disney. Love you, Brother Stan.
I 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 love you, Brother Stan, with all my heart, and we're going to miss you.
I love you, Brother Stan. I'm going to miss you.
I love you, Brother Stan. I love you, Brother Stan. I'm going to miss you.
I love you, Brother Stan. I love you, my brother.
I love you, Brother Stan. Gonna miss you.
Brother Stan, I do love you. I respect you, and I will miss you greatly.
We love you, Brother Stan. We love you, Brother Stan. Thank you, Brother Stan. Thank you, Brother Stan.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
And everything you have done.
And everything you have done.
We love you.
We love you.
We love you.
We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you, Brother Stan.
We thank God every time we think of you. Philippians 1:3. We love you, Brother Stan.
Brother Stan, we do love you so very much, and we're so thankful for your ministry here at our church, and thankful that I was privileged to be under your shepherding all these years. And, thank you, Brother Stan, and thank you, Beth, also, and well done, my good and faithful servants. We love you.